nobody wanna step to me. Bitch, wanna step to me. If you wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
Transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
I whip that thing out like Michael Obama.
We already had it with
I got that
Obama.
big
So
energy.
let's just calm down.
Nobody wanna step to me.
No.
And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 I'm a whip the thing out.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, cult, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, cult, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Brap, brap, brap. I don't know. Something's on notice right now. Because it just me, or did our entire intro seem staticky?
It a little bit did.
It was like driving me crazy. I'm like, technology does not want this to happen tonight. This is like our third time. Hi, you guys.
But you look really clear.
Oh, good. As long as
Yeah.
I can hear you and you can hear me, we're going to do the best we can. But if you're out there and you're watching or you're going to tune in, none of our electronics are working on the screen. So we can't see any of the chats. We can't see anyone on Rumble, on X, on YouTube, either of the channels. So do make sure you hit the thumbs up. We aren't going to delete this one or take it down. So if you're in a place, you can stay there now. How fucking annoying. I apologize.
And I'm sorry we won't be able to answer your questions live, but
I know. I'm gonna figure out. Ugh, I'm so irritated.
okay. So it's been a major pushback day. Like I feel like this has been put off for so long. So like
What was
in my
our plan
head,
here? Yeah, for everyone to know, if because a lot of people might not know what we were up to today. Abby's been talking about tell them what it is, because
the
I'm gonna say
patience
it
of the
all.
Medici. Like this is something that I learned through the dream search, like dream hackers. But they wrote this book. Andre Roytoff. They wrote this book called Dream Searchers, Seekers of the Spirit, and it's not translated the best, but it's from Russian, and it's about a team of Russian dream hackers. And so it should have been dream hackers, really, but for whatever reason, when they translated it, it went to dream searchers. So it's just this method of hacking reality, and it's been major pushback us doing this episode.
It, like all day, and then, we were finally gonna do it. We've talked about doing it for a few times. Me, you, and Layla getting our shit all the way together for Sunday night is always an ish anyway. Like,
Yeah.
we've had, really busy lives going on, and then, we're like, "Fuck it, we're gonna do it tonight." We were talking about doing it this week, and it's almost like not because Layla's not here, we'll do it, but it's almost like the Medici's so big that it's like very few things could fill the space of Layla, but this
Yeah.
is such a big, huge topic that it's like, okay, it kinda deserves its own space, and I hope I just don't get in the way too much of you doing this.
Oh, no. I'm glad that I have somebody to interact with instead of just doing this video on my own because I think that's really why I put it off for so long. Is the intention was there, but I had a spade card, a ace of spades or something just blocking it, and that's how I felt. I felt like I was seeing spades all day today as far as that goes, because like, I'm running a fever. I've been sick.
So we were gonna cancel it
Yeah.
beforehand. So Layla wasn't gonna be here, and then we weren't gonna do it anyway, and then we were like, "You know what? We could probably do it without Layla since it's such a big thing, and then it's something there, and we can all talk about it again later, but that way we can go back to it." And then Abbie didn't feel good the second she told me she had a fever. I was like my, like, lazy girl inside Sunday girl was like, "It's okay, we could cancel it. We'll just do it another time." It's like the universe does not want us to show you guys this.
Yeah. And then and then I go to grab my Medici cards, and apparently somebody's messed with them, and I'm missing the 2 of the cards that I need, and I was like, "Are you kidding?" Like, so my deck was messed up, so I go to grab another deck of cards, and I'm missing cards. So then I run to a store, and they don't have any playing cards. They're out of them. Like, they carry them, but there's none there. So then I had to go to, like, a Dollar Tree. I finally found a deck of cards. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, at first, I had
How
to grab
often
My
does
Little Pony cards.
Walgreens, like, run out of playing
I
cards?
know. That's what I'm
So,
saying.
anyways, I it would make me feel some kind of, like, peace right now if I could see one of the chats,
Me
and
too.
know you guys could even see us back, but, I'm used to not doing live, so, big up yourself, everyone on X. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. We are gonna get into, the patience of the Medici, and so a good place to start is, like, who maybe do we know of that has used this before? You kinda use one of the examples on Friday Night Show, but this is kinda my favorite example, so feel free to tell it in detail if you wanna talk about Mary.
Okay, well, it's called The Patience of the Medici. So it's technically named after Maria de Medici, like the Queen of Spain, right? But she was not the first Mary to use it. It was actually Mary Stuart, Bloody Mary, Queen of Scots. And she was taught by John Dee, who apparently she hated, but he was the court astrologer. So she was taught this solitaire game, and this is not the same, by the way, as Medici Solitaire. There is Medici Solitaire, but it's different. This
So, even that I have Medici Solitaire on this, that's not right. It needs to be
No, but
called
that's
Patience.
okay. I'm glad that it's okay. I'm glad that it says that because I feel like we have to have it a little bit reversed because this is powerful.
Okay. Okay.
So I feel that's why I didn't even say anything to you earlier. I was like, Okay, I like that it's Medici Solitaire because this could distract the people who need to be distracted." So if they don't wanna watch the video and they think they can just figure it out, then that's fine. They won't. Um, so Mary Stuart, though, the legend has it that the night before her execution, she asked for a deck of cards. So she sat there and she all night long before dawn, sat there and tried to fold the Patience of Medici, but she had forgotten how to do it because she hadn't used it in so long. But they came to get her right before dawn and to chop off her head, and she literally said, "If I would've just had a few more minutes." And I feel like that's almost because when they went to execute her, it didn't when they did it was guillotine, right?
No, it
Or
was
was it just
actually
an
an
axe?
executioner, yeah, an axe man,
Okay,
and
they
go
didn't
on.
hack off her head the first time.
Yeah, they didn't hack off her head the first time, and they didn't hack off her head the second time. So they had to go get a bone saw and saw the rest of her head off. And so it was so bloody for everyone that was witnessing it. She's the one that we call Bloody Mary in the mirror. And some people theorize that she came so close to figuring out the Medici that may be why we get some essence of her still in existence
Ooh, I
instead of her
love it.
just being all the way dead. So, yeah, it's super crazy. Who else maybe used that?
So,
You said
again,
John Dee.
yeah,
Who's
John
that?
Dee. John Dee was the court astrologer to Queen Elizabeth the First. Um, and he has ties back to the Russian family, I believe, like the Russian royal family. So,
Like the Romanovs?
yeah, the Romanovs. So he the dream searchers learned this. So this was lost. This was lost. This was esoteric as hell. And the dream hackers actually in lucid dream, one of them found John Dee. And so they started following him around and he led them back to his library. So while they're in his library, there was also a computer in his library. So that's an interesting fact, but it's in the dream realm, so anything goes there. But I don't know if it was on the computer or through interviewing John Dee, they learned this way of folding cards, which gives you an algorithm into reality. And so they were able to bring it back to this side of reality. So these Russian dream hackers, they actually found this method and brought it back. So it was pretty much lost knowledge. It wasn't in any books. Nobody had handed it down. And there has to be some sort of knowledge of it because there is there is the card game called Medici Solitaire, and then there is a board game called The Patience of the Medici, and it has nothing to do with it either.
So it's almost like what Thomas was talking about the other
Yeah.
night, how certain things are just smoke screens. So by the
Yes,
time the smoke clears, you don't know what direction the real direction was.
absolutely, and then there's also the card games that's the most like it is accordion solitaire, where you play it in your hand and you flip from the bottom and you look at 4 cards, and if they match in suit or rank, then you can, like, eliminate cards, and the idea is to get rid of all the cards in your hand. So, that's how I was able to understand this because it's written in a book and they actually give you a chain, but one of the sequence in the chain is wrong, the way they wrote it. It took a whole team of us, Bootsy Greenwood and we set up like a book club and invited a whole bunch of people to read Dream Searchers Secrets of the Spirit, and we as a team figured out how to do the Patience of the Medici, and only a couple of us actually like really applied it. So
Okay, and, did you guys so you set up a group, but this is kind of the first time it's been done anywhere? Do you talk about this anywhere or, like, there's other books by John Dee that your people can find out? Are you on the Blue Collar Mystics? Shout everybody, make sure you follow that 'cause, Abbie's over there with Bootsy, and they break down the whole
reality transurfing,
okay,
which is
reality.
yeah. So that's how I got into all this. Actually, it was reality transurfing. Really kind of opened my eyes to a lot of the way reality works, but the author of the book cites Carlos Castaneda a lot, and he teaches lucid dreaming. So I got into Carlos Castaneda just by I just wanted to read The Art of Dreaming, so that's what I read. I started on like the ninth book, and I learned a lot about dreaming, lucid dreaming, and then from there, I saw actually Bootsy told me like, "Have you read this book? Called Dream Searchers?" And I ordered it right away, and it's actually it's a fiction book, but it's based on a real team of dream hackers. These were actual all ITs and stuff, and they were hired by, like, three-letter agencies to apply hacking to dreaming. So, they learned a lot of this
So it's
stuff.
like Men Who Stare at Goats kinda shit.
Yes, yes,
Okay. So, like, where they're almost astral traveling or even
they are.
Inception, we always say, like, that kind of idea.
All of those things, and even wilder stuff, like opening portals and being able to walk through them.
Bro,
So
my technology is, driving me crazy. I'm like, "Is there a MetLife ad behind me right now?" I
well,
don't even know if MetLife's a thing anymore. I don't know why I thought that out of everything.
I bet it
Um
is.
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry to interrupt. But, I do and you guys, we're gonna totally get into this. We have a little another camera set up. It's obviously we've had so many technical issues today. You guys are gonna have to deal with the direction that you get on these cards, but we're gonna
Period.
explain what it means. And before we get into it, the other thing, each one of the playing cards, like people think, oh, playing cards, this is all silly, milli vanilli, but tarot cards, a lot of people use those for like forms of divination, I guess.
Yeah.
And the tarot cards are all based on the real playing card deck, are they not?
Yeah, I think so because the playing cards came before the tarot. So
And so you have your 4 kings, 4 seasons, 4 queens. Some people say like the kings are like Charlemagne and David and Philip, like they each have one of the main kings in history that they represent, or like maybe places on the planet, dynasties. And they also have a weight in this whole thing that I'm going to bring up something that's kind of like simple that you like put together, but I'm like, I like simple and I
yeah,
want to
simple's
stare at
good.
it while you say it. So, these are the suits kind of as far as the Medici goes. So if any of you out there right now, if you have a deck of cards at your house, maybe you want to go grab that and like clear a table in front of you, like your coffee table. And because Abby's going to tell you the difference between like a deck and another deck, what cards to remove and all that jazz. So if you want to go through all these.
Okay. So you actually remove all of the 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. So you don't need any of these because basically we're creating an, I mean, just literally just you could throw them away if you're going to use this card solely for the patience of the Medici. Um, I went blank.
Oh, I have it on screen. Yeah, you could throw those cards away, but then I did put that up if you just want to. So like diamonds, it says are all things money.
Yeah. So okay. So each of the suits means something clearly, and then each of the
Bear with
cards.
Abby. She has a fever.
I do.
She's doing it because Medici does not want her to. You're
Today's
not supposed to have
episode
these
brought to you
secrets.
by ibuprofen.
No. Today's episode brought to you by a lot of sleep and chicken soup.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, go on.
Okay, so in the realm, we're tracing flows. So okay, let's start here. This is an algorithm. Um, call it magic if you will, but really this, and I'm gonna actually start with this warning. If you do this, it's going to break your brain in a way that you may have never had your brain broken before. It's going to open up your map to the world and you're going to see things a lot differently. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but if you are concerned, then I wouldn't do it. But you can look at it like magic, or you can look at it like this is a matrix or this is a simulation. And if it's a simulation and it was a computer program, then it's hackable, right? That it's a cheat code, just like on Contra, the up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, BA, like that.
Select start.
Yep. So that that being said, that's what this is. This is an algorithm. This is actually teaching you or giving you a chain of events that have to happen in a certain way to manifest. There's two different ways to use this. You can use this for manifestation, or you can use it to recall energy that you put into projects or people and you never saw it through, because that's a thing. A magician, or we'll say a person of knowledge, always sees things through. And that's hard to say because none of us do. Like, how many of us have little craft projects that we started that we sit there and we walk by and we're like, I'm gonna finish that someday, and you never do.
That's
And
and part
yeah,
of an intentional existence is um when whatever you're calling your mustard seed, your faith, your eye of newt, like whatever that thing in you that drives you, that you have to do the thing that everyone's like, don't do that thing. What are you doing? No one does that thing, but you don't know why. You just have to do that thing and you've had to do it your whole life. And it could just be worship for real, like whatever your little thing is. Um, the intention that you spend doing that thing all the time. And sometimes there's small things. Sometimes you're like, laying in bed and you're like, I just got the greatest idea. I should get up right now and I should go put it together and I should do these things. But all the lower energies or the demons or the earth or the flesh or whatever you want to call it, everything, the second your calling comes to you, everything wants to break it down.
Yeah.
Everything's trying to get in the way of you doing that thing. I am going to turn the TV off behind me. See?
It's doing crazy things over there.
I know. This is over. This is over between us.
We're going black screen.
Okay. It was doing a lot. I felt like somebody from the chat that I can't even see said someone's standing behind you and I was Layla. Don't ever fucking say that again. I'll fucking come at you. I'll find your fucking address. You're gonna see me in your fucking mirror. Anyway.
Love it.
So I do think that kind of stuff, like intentional, like some of those projects we all have laying around and those things that you stare back at. Sometimes it's an instrument. Sometimes you don't pick up the phone to call the
Yeah.
person and you
Yes.
keep thinking like, why does this person keep coming across my heart? Like, why are they keep coming? And you need to fucking talk to them because then you always have those things where you lose somebody and you're like, I was thinking about them for the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. So with things, I kind of feel like even on the big scale, how we were kind of joking about it, like we're going to talk about this thing and everything doesn't want us talking about this thing. But if you watch a chart or if you watch the news or if you're a conspiracy theorist or if you watch birds fly or everything has a pattern, every single thing on the planet has some sort of pattern. It's just, can you back far enough away from that thing to see the pattern?
And you'll
Like
start
other
seeing it. That's what this
Yeah.
does to you. It
So that's
it
what
just
when
does it.
you always explain this to me, for some reason, that's what I always got from it, is for some reason it's giving you, like some people play their video game and they can see their hands in front of them. And then some people play their video game and they press this other button on the controller and it gives them coof. And now they broke the fourth wall and now they're looking at themselves from above on the screen. It seems like something about that with the Medici. It's not that there's like a magic with a K that everyone always is
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. It's just like these are the patterns of the things that are happening all the time. And if you believe you were put here, like, people that are God fearing people and they're like, God knows everything, he's omnipotent. He knew that everything you were going to do. Do you want to know? And that is kind of it too. If your script's already out there, do you want to read your script?
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I thinking of it like too big of a
No.
kid or is that kind of
That's how I look at it all now. I look at everything, the little annoyances in life or, picking up a penny on the ground, all of those things I see as important and significant now. And even if it's inconvenient, and even if it's a train stopping me on my way to work, I'm like, "Motherfuck," and then I'm like, "Okay, this is a spade card, so this is a bigger chain. This is
And if you
something ins."
know Abbie, anyone who's friends with Abbie out there, she speaks a little in Medici, and you might not know it for years until you know Medici. But she'll just tell little things like, "Oh, that's a diamond for you."
Yeah.
Even if it feels something so silly that you're like, "Oh, I got a free book at the store. I got a free this at the store. I got a free blue dragon. I don't know why it was free with purchase." She'd be like, "That's a diamond." And
Yep.
I'd be like, "Oh, like, I don't know what that means, but we're gonna learn tonight." But she also,
Okay.
like, if you stubbed your toe, she'd be like, "Spade card."
Yep. It is a spade.
So, anyways, I'm gonna pull that list back up
Yeah,
again
let's pull it back up.
because I wanna go through the suits, and then we're gonna go through each of the things before we actually lay the deck out,
Yeah.
and, so
Okay.
ding, ding, ding. I guess I don't even care if no one's watching. I mean, I care, but if
Yeah.
no one's watching, we're recording it, and
They're
I'm
gonna
gonna
watch it later.
re-upload it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
re-upload it and make sure it's everywhere, and just the technical end, I want it to be right. I don't want it to be like,
absolutely.
we couldn't even hear you guys the whole time.
Oh my gosh, I know. That would piss me off.
Dude, it's like I do voicemails to my friends, like something exciting happens
Yeah.
to me or something shitty, I'm like, "This bitch just cut me off in traffic and blah, 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 and guess what else? I just scratched the lottery ticket and I won the lottery, na, na,
Woo!
na, na, na." And then I'm not even recording nothing. I don't know when it stopped fucking recording. And then I'm just furious. I'm like, I'm just coughing. I'm just the dead coffin on fire face.
Like, I'm gonna have to do that all over again.
Yeah. Okay. So let me pull that thing back up. Let me pull up our piece of paper.
Okay.
Okay. So
So starting with the suits, this is the thing is that you're tracking flows. Okay. So that we're looking at flows of energy. So if you think of it that way, there's four main flows. And I mean, if you wanted to get complicated, you could track as many flows as you want to. But this is tried and true and it works. And I'm telling you it works every single time. Um, so diamonds are all things money, like money, commerce, anything that has to do with that's would have to do with monetary things. Hearts are emotions, and it's all emotions. It's the positive ones, the negative ones, anything that has to do in that realm. Clubs are your everyday life, so it'd be work, home, and just your regular routine. And spades have to do with force or willpower. So those are your main four flows that we're tracking here. And then, you know, each of the flows has one of these cards, aces through sixes. So aces are always they're a power card and they're always an external event. It's something outside of you happening that that could interfere with you in a certain way, but it's not necessarily happening to you. You could just observe something happening, but it's an external event.
like a baseball game? Like if you were
Yeah,
watching a baseball game, that's an ace.
yeah. Or
Okay.
you watch a fight happen in front of you, and that'd be like all of a sudden a fight breaks out. That would be an ace of spades. You're like, oh shoot,
And if it was at work, it could be an ace of clubs.
yeah, yep,
Okay.
okay. So then kings are rules or laws. So they're just things that constrain us, but this isn't the same as an external event. So that would be like if you're driving, a king of a king of spades would be a traffic light or a train. Okay, so that would be like a king card. Emotions would be like somebody like, you shouldn't do that. It's going to hurt somebody's feelings, if it has to do with emotions. Queens are personas. They're anything living, though. So a persona doesn't have to be a person. It's just any living being. So it could be human, an animal, or an insect. So dogs coming up and cuddling you. That's your queen of hearts. Um, somebody comes by and is like bitching about a bill that they have. Male or female. That would be the queen of diamonds. So, same idea, a dog barking at you could be a queen of spades. And jacks are the courier of power. Jacks are how you usually you'll always start a manifestation chain with a jack because that's your desire, ambitions, or intentions.
And so like an example, like whatever thing I'm trying to do, if I'm trying to get a new boyfriend, if I'm trying to get a new job, if I'm trying to move, if I'm trying whatever my thing is, it'll be either a diamond, a heart, a club, or a spade of a jack, and that's where I start.
Yep, that's your intention card.
Okay.
So, yeah, if it has to do with your emotions, you want a jack of hearts. If your intention is about money, then you're going to do a jack of diamonds. If your intention is about everyday life, work, home, whatever, then jack of clubs. And if it's about you forcing your will or power onto someone or some event, then that would be a jack of spades.
A jack in this is like almost starting point.
Yes.
Like, you're
Yes.
gonna go
Okay.
backward, forward, or whatever, but, like, there's a lot of power in the jack here. This is your first move.
Yes. So you always choose your first three cards. So Um,
Okay.
unless you're doing a chain for, like, recapitulation, which is calling your energy back to you in things that you never finished. So and that's the chain I'm doing tonight is gonna be a recapitulation one because this should be a full chain if I put the cards in the right order. So, I figured if you wanna do manifestation, then that's up to you to figure it out on your own. Because I have those chains as well because I've made my own, but you'll have to do it yourself. I'm not gonna give you that. I will give you how to call your energy back to you. Okay. Um, but
I don't know what any of that meant, but I'm sure when we get there, I'll dissect it more.
Yeah. Okay.
The people out there that know more than I do, they knew what you meant. That was not for me. That was not a message for me.
Okay. So your first card on a manifestation chain is going to be a jack. That's your intention card. Your second card, well, we'll go ahead. Let's finish this and then we'll go
Okay.
into the second card. Okay.
Okay.
So tens are the results or expectations. So if I'm starting with a jack of diamonds because I'm manifesting money, then the the card in my chain that will be the result of that will be the 10 of diamonds. Okay. So the same idea if I'm, let's say my intention is to communicate with an ex or something like that. That'd be a jack of hearts. That would be, because it's communicate or has to do in the realm of emotions. So jack of hearts, but my result card would be the 10 of hearts. And as you can see here, okay, so nines are action cards. I'll get back to that in a second, but eights are communication or interaction. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They think that the eight of hearts would be their card of when it would happen, but that's not it. Like that is a communication with emotion, but it's still the 10 of hearts that will be when your event will occur.
We're gonna talk about it more, so if you feel like, "I don't know about this," you
If I'm
will,
talking
because
over your
all your
head, yeah.
grandmas no, all your grandmas out there played solitaire. Everybody, like, knows somebody in their life that was, like, from a different generation that would sit there and do this all the time, and there is also theories that a lot of people knew exactly about this game. It just stopped getting written about and started getting passed down with word of mouth because it was such a powerful game, and so some people think that a lot more people were playing this always, but because you wouldn't necessarily, it's not something you have to keep in secret, but even like Abby says, when you show somebody, you're allowed to show somebody one time. Like
Yeah.
like there's an energy in it. You're allowed to show them that whatever you're laying out or whatever happens or whatever messes up, the energy is not coming back on your life. And some people I just wanna say out there because everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, esoteric, blah, 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 blah." Some people believe that like, you can change your stars. Some people think that if, like, a psychic were to tell you, "This crazy thing's gonna happen to you tomorrow," like, that could make you actually do the thing because they just put the weight on you of that thing. So, this
Yes.
is really just you in cards. And
Yeah.
so and, like, kind of the thing. So I understand, like, it's so many ways that people are like, "Oh my gosh, this means this," but you guys, Ouija board is sold in the toy aisle. Like, this is the level of stuff they have us messing around with that we think is just like, "Oh, slim slam."
Well, and that's what we use all the stuff for divination. So cards, tarot cards for divination, but what if they were meant to be intentional? What if they were meant to manifest?
Well, that's what Thomas talks about too a lot of the time with the casino games,
Yeah.
is that the Wheel of Fortune would be roulette or, different, all the different card games, not just solitaire, or
Yeah.
even we talk about would a muse be able to walk through a casino and just this machine hits and that machine hits and this machine hits and that machine hits as she walks through? So how much is energy, like, do you believe in energy? So it's just curious. I know there's a lot of woo-woo, but we're in a world where we talk about aliens and dragons and, you know, all these crazy, antichrists and all this crazy shit, but talking about playing cards in this way, even though tarot, we could have a whole show just only talking about tarot and that has weight, but this seems so like, what? I've never heard of this. I'm a
And you
skeptic.
want there's nothing in English on it. So this will be the first English video, okay? This is all the only thing you'll find is in Russian. I will tell you that.
Um,
You will find some things on some obscure forums in English, but you still have to figure out how to do it. So that's you're welcome. We're giving you tonight this sponsored by the Secret Society of Good Guys.
I thought you were
How to
gonna
do
say
the
sponsored
Patience of the
by
Medici in English. Okay.
yeah, in Inglés. So, anyway, sorry to interrupt, but, okay, go back.
Okay, so nines are an action. So this would be like a yang thing. This is something that you do. And a lot of time they call them flags too. So it could be like just messing with a button on your shirt. It could be like for if I had a 9 of
Like this?
diamonds. Yeah, yes, a fidget or something. Like it could be like I twirl my hair all the time, so that would be like my 9 of clubs, okay? Or a 9 of diamonds could be just like rubbing a coin or touching it in your
Huh.
pocket or
So that
flipping
would
it.
be like a flag. They're like, "Hey, you do something repetitively. You do something that is
Yeah,
innately your little fidget that you've been doing your whole life." When we lay these cards out, as we see things lay out, it's going to either say, you're going to be doing a fidget and, it's going to cost you money, or you're going to be doing one of your fidget and you're going to meet the love of your life, or you're like, it's
yeah,
part of the thing that's going to lay out in the chain. It's not
yes.
always big events everybody thinks of. Like, this is going to predict when the next false flag will happen. It's not
Y
always that. It's
The
just,
fidgets are important. That's what you start going, "Oh my gosh," like, if I didn't do that at that time, then, maybe this wouldn't have happened. So you start to see how it's all woven together and interconnected. It's really bizarre. So then you start thinking in cards. Okay, so 8s are communications or interactions. It could be text, email, phone call, in person, whatever. Self-explanatory. 7s are intakes. So intaking food or drink, information, like you're reading something, um, anything. You could like a 7 of diamonds, you could just be checking your bank account balance or checking your wallet. And then sixes are movements or motions. So it's usually like moving physically something. So and that would be related to your cards. So that's all broken down now.
all
I'd
right.
ask if anybody had any questions, but we can't
Where
see.
I actually go ahead and ask if they have any questions. I thought it was perfect timing because I actually do have my phone in my hand for this reason. I wasn't
All right.
not paying attention to you. I just figured I could look and see if the chat has any questions about anything. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to catch up. And then we're going to go into, we're actually going to lay out some cards and then talk about it as we go through it.
Yep.
So, yeah. You guys go ahead. Let's see. We'll set up this camera here. Dee 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 dee. Look at that, how the camera turned.
Is it
No,
okay?
you might have to hit the camera again because see how it's like up and down, like your camera's not horizontal. Wait, I might be able to move all our cameras. Let's see. Dee dee dee. Let's see what happens. Maybe I can't. No, I can't.
Do I
You
need
have
to
to move it.
go
Yeah, you
this
have to.
way?
Yes. Yes, queen.
Okay, but now I gotta adjust again.
It's okay. Take your time. Hi.
Is
I'll
that
give
an
you your
okay
full
angle?
screen. I'm gonna give you your full screen.
Okay.
No, look at it. It's like doing long ways instead of long ways.
Well, I figured it would because that's the long ways. So
I know it's weird.
go back that way.
Oh, there you go. Yes,
Okay.
queen.
Okay. All right. So questions.
Okay. So, real quick, everybody, make sure you hit the like button. Anyone that's out there watching. I never did learn. Can you give examples of where you've had done this in your own lives? Yeah.
Yeah. I've done it for like somebody owed me money and I'd asked for it a couple times and they hadn't given it to me. So my intention was, return money that's owed to me. And I did that and it was given back. Another time it was to have communication with somebody that I had lost communication with and we'd blocked each other on everything and we hadn't seen each other in real life because that person moved away. And it was the most bizarre. That was the first one I ever did. And it was weird as hell. Like I saw everything happening and when you follow the chain, because you're marking real life events as you go. So you have to write down your chain after you finish. And you watch it unfold. So you're like, okay, you watch, what your next card is. So now I'm looking for this card, and then you watch it happen. You're like, oh shit. And then all of a sudden you see them happening faster. And then the most bizarre ways, like my Queen of Diamonds, this lady at work happened to walk by and she's wearing a a sports jacket with money signs on it. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay, Queen of Diamonds, there we go. So you start to see it feels almost like you're removed, like you're like time slows down, like we were talking about Friday. Like all of a sudden you're like, okay, like I'm seeing the bigger picture. All of a sudden I'm zoomed out and I'm seeing all these little events unfold, and it
And really what
feels
it's
like magic.
everybody's life, like we were just talking about with patterns, except you're putting an archetype on everything that happens so you can see the pattern.
Yeah.
It's like if your everything work thing just becomes clubs. Everything work just becomes clubs. It's just an easier way for you to see the pattern. And then if everything love just becomes hearts, easier way to see the pattern. And so sometimes even in life with our own emotions and things like that, we get pulled one way or another. Or, like, are you a person that always leads by your heart? Or, are you a person that really, and it's like where your career is the most important thing to you? Or are you a person where like your friends just matter, but that still is your heart? And so it's like these kind of, it might help you kind of know who you are. But and then Lucy said her question is, do you pick the cards to set your intent? And that's what you're getting at. You choose because of your intent.
Yes. So, um, so on a manifestation chain, and I wish that I would have actually like taken a picture of three cards, the first three cards, because the first three cards you could name them. So the first card is your intention card, and that's going to be a jack. Your second card, you're going to always pick two. It's um the dream hackers usually do a nine, so a flag or um a fidget, and that is called your salute to the spirit. So that's like you have so when you're doing your chain, like after you folded it, you have your whole
It was
chain.
weird that you said salute to the spirit and then the like
The tiger.
logo came up
Yeah.
in the fire. It just was like I'm such a weirdo. Sorry, go
I
on.
liked it too. I noticed it. So so this so the intention card is your first card is a jack. Your second card is the salute to the spirit. And I have done it in my chains as an intake. So it's something that you have to do. So a 7 or a 9 is going to be your best bet. But it's your salute to the spirit, like, okay, I'm going to do this now. So you obviously start when you fold this the first time, you can fold it without an intention. That's just you trying to do it. But every other time that you try and attempt to create a chain, you have to have an intention in mind. Like that's what we were just talking about, but make sure that you do it intentionally because
Well,
that's
it's
the whole purpose.
interesting you're telling me this, and I'm thinking, even if you thought like your relative was just a normal, regular NPC 3D person, if they were playing solitaire, a lot of the times they would have been meditating. So even that energy alone seems like very interesting with this. You're setting this intention and then you're going into this deep meditation almost. Because if you ever watch people fold cards, they
Yeah,
get so fast at it.
you do. That's exactly it's just like you're folding it, then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, didn't work, go again. Didn't work, go again. Um So 7 or 9 for your second card, your salute to the spirit. So the second you observe that card or you do the action, then you wait for the third card, and the third card you usually pick 2, which is the spirit's answer. So the second you get the spirit's answer and they tell you it takes about 10 minutes from the time that you do the second card to the time that you get the spirit's answer. If it
And you
doesn't
don't have
happen
to
within
call it the spirit, do
yeah.
you? Like, you
No,
could just
no.
because I think it's,
You can call it the
somebody
universe's answer or
Stephanie
whatever.
said, "Is Medici a guide for the current energy or a tool to forecast the future?" And because time's not real, it's doing all the things. Like,
Yeah.
it could tell you what's holding you back in your past. And I will also say, I don't do like not because I don't know how to do this. I'm learning this with you guys. So I don't know what a way that like I don't have an example like Abbie does, but only cuz I am not proficient. Like she's taught me like one time in person and then we've talked about it a whole bunch of times and then I like had a partial deck of cards. I know what solitaire is, but there's a difference of this and I think it's kind of interesting. I'll bring it I'm sure it'll come up again later. But, I always just think it's so curious because when you talk about anything that like if we were playing dominoes and said these dominoes are actually one of the oldest games in the world. If we told people like about backgammon and we're like, the reason backgammon started and had all this stuff, people will be like, "Oh, I never play backgammon again."
I wish we knew the story behind backgammon because I know there has to be something
Oh
to
my
that
gosh,
too.
I'm such an
'Cause
old man. I love back.
'cause that's like the oldest game ever, right? Like supposedly
And, of course,
oldest board
Becky
game.
Brittany Pickle Spears, when we tell people to hit the thumbs up and stuff, we should say, "Hit the thumbs up one more time," or, "Baby, make sure you hit the thumbs up one more time." Like, we have to keep it Brittany,
Hit me, baby, one more time.
but, like, the thumbs up.
Yeah, but like the thumbs up.
Okay. So, because sometimes they're talking to each other, so I gotta alright, so that seems like we're good on questions, and
Okay.
now you guys, it's also been a while. I've gotten the luxury since I've been back that I've gotten to hang out with you guys all the time. And I forget kind of like, okay, I want to assist you here, like, oh, let me conduct an interview of Abbie. It just feels like it's a whole different hat, even though it seems like, oh, that I'm just on mic, but it's like, oh, this is I'm rusty at this. I have ring rust at this part. I usually just get to hang out with you guys and chill. You know what I mean? Okay. Mm-mm-mm. So we're gonna put that up, and we
Okay.
want this to be over here.
So the intention with this one, this is a 7 of clubs. So this is not a jack. So this is not a manifestation chain. This is to recall your energy. This is so 7 of clubs would be an intake, and that would be something from work or home. Okay. So in a chain where you're going to recall energy, you only pick the first 2 cards. And they say you should start with the clubs and work your way through every single card. So start with the 6 of clubs, work your way all the way through every single card of the clubs, and then go to the next suit. If you want, it's a way to recall a whole bunch of your personal energy. So 7 of clubs, your second card is always going to be the ace of spades, because the ace of spades is an external event that blocked you somehow. So that was your block. So we are trying to find a way to work through the block. Okay. So in the Patience of the Medici, it doesn't matter what cards you start with. You could do this your first time without even a jack up there. Okay. You're you flip you're always analyzing 3 cards at a time. So left to right. And what we're looking at the first card. Well, this would actually be the first card because this is the one I just laid down. And then the third card. So 2 cards back. So what we're looking for is a match in suit or rank. So Jack of Hearts and a 7 of Clubs, they don't match in suit and they don't match in rank. So I go ahead and flip the next card. So here we have the Ace of Clubs, and I look back 2 more cards because we're analyzing the first card and the third card. So Ace of Clubs and Ace of Spades, they don't match in suit, but they match in rank. So what happens here is that these 2 cards are attracted to each other. So the middle card folds over to the left on top of the left card. So this is kind of why it's like an accordion. And then I analyze again. So now I have the ace of spades and the 7 of spades, or excuse me, clubs. Anyway, so they match in suit. So again, they're attracted to each other. So this pile folds on top to the left. And now I flip the next card. 6 of hearts, Jack of hearts, they match in suit. Jack of diamonds, ace of clubs, they don't match. King of spades, 6 of hearts, they don't match.
Wouldn't it
Ace
be funny if this was all just a fucking joke just so we could make them all tune in and watch you play solitaire? April
We're doing old lady shit,
Fools!
yeah.
Sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's
Okay.
okay. We're a secret society of good guys. It wouldn't be right if we didn't crack jokes.
And I have, like, the attention span of Peanut, like, legit. Okay, go
I hear
on.
you. Okay, because this is kind of quiet and boring. Okay, so here we have diamond and diamond. They attract. So we fold over, but then we always analyze again. So the ace and the 6, they don't match, and the king and the ace don't match. So we go ahead and flip another card. The 6 of clubs, king of spades, nothing. Jack of spades, ace of hearts. And if you're in a room, just start another row. Jack of clubs, 6 of clubs. So this folds over. And these don't match, but if you look right here, the jack of spades and the king of spades, they do. So we collapse. And
Can I tell you one thing? I just this is so stupid. Do you think, like, if I had a trans kid and I ever went to a PTA meeting and they were like, "Oh, okay,
I'm already laughing.
we're gonna have Chaney come up because she's a trans parent." Like,
So that's where that word came
and then
from.
I came up, I walk up and I'm just clear. Like, I'm just literally
I'm
transparent.
invisible.
Okay, I'm so sorry. That's so stupid. You guys, I'm trying to send a graphic to myself, and so I'm like, "Nope, I need it to be transparent so I can pull up the thing for Abbie next to us," but that's where my stupid head my Okay, go on. So sorry.
Okay. Well, you can look here. Like right here, we have 2 aces. So we'll fold it back down. So the goal of this is 35 and 1. So you should have 35 cards here and then 1 card here. And if you have 35 and 1, then you have a working chain. Anything less, it's not going to work.
35 and 1.
Yes, that's the algorithm. 35 plus 1.
Let's see if this works. Dun,
Okay, so here I
dun,
have the 9 and the
dun.
9.
Look at us. We're fucking moving on up.
Woohoo.
Moving on up.
Okay.
Okay.
So we reanalyze. Those don't go. These do. And remember, the middle card always folds over onto the left. Okay. So 9 and a 9. This folds it down. 7 and 7. I need one to show where there's more than one option, because that's hopefully I have one in this chain. Okay, so these don't work, but these do. So this folds down. Nine and 9. Okay, here we go. So when I reanalyze this, we have the 9 of spades and the 8 of spades, and that would fold, right? But look right here, we have the 7 of hearts or 7 of diamonds and the ace of diamonds. So in this case where you have 2 moves, you always start with the leftmost pair. So we're going to look at the
So, like, if
diamonds
you were
here.
playing the same as I keep playing solitaire, but if you made a mistake and your chain ended up long and you realized far back in the chain there was an eat or a 2 eat, that's what I call them, you guys.
Yeah.
Like when she's like, this one's attracted to this one and it goes on, I'm like, and this one eats this. Like pretty much anything, I always see the 2. If they
Yeah.
match, then the one in the middle it disappears. It's almost like time travel. Whatever event that was there or something, it's like done, right?
Well, what's funny is that when you write down your chain, they write down where it folds, and where they write down where it folds, they use instead of brackets, they use the greater than or less than symbol, so like it's eating. So,
Oh, like the big gator and the little gator?
yeah.
What if we were all learning that stuff originally for this kind of thing, but they put all this other kind of like science and
Yeah.
math on it, this seance and math. They like changed the spell. What if that was originally supposed like if you saw a big equation on a chalkboard, that was just somebody explaining their chain?
That would be so wild.
I don't know what all the symbols are if you were to write down these chains, but it seems like to me how we do modern algebra, like how we lay everything out and how everything would look with all the different, how they'll teach you 2 ways to do it fractionally, but they'll be like a fraction could be this, but it could also be a decimal.
Well, yeah, so it'd be you start with the less than symbol, and then whatever your first card is, so JH. So when the shorthand of this would be like the first letter of each suit, right? So JH, ace would be ace H or ace H, ace D or AD. You just kind of do a little shorthand. Okay, so
Okay,
here with the
going
two
back to it.
folds, we start with the leftmost fold and then break it down, reanalyze to the left, and then but here's the only other fold. So there we are.
So
Diamond
the
and diamond.
7 could go on top of the 8 like that? Because I know
I
you
don't.
did. Okay,
Okay, so you always analyze the first card and the third card,
yeah, and then there you
and then
you
when
did
they're
have 2
attracted to each
spades.
other, the
Yeah.
middle card, the middle card is the one. So they're attracted, but the middle
Uh,
card folds over.
okay.
So 2 spades, the king is going to fold over on top of the 9.
Oh my gosh, when I've been doing this, I've been doing it wrong the whole time.
It's easy to do because it
I've
almost
been
feels like
like, when I said eat, I would almost like I would make the king eat the queen and then the king be the one with the face showing. So the card in the middle was no longer there anymore.
yeah, and the card in the middle always goes on top, and the
Yeah,
reason why is
huh.
that so
That's
you
your object, like, undone thing.
yeah, as I was learning this, I would sit there and write the chains as I was going. I would sit there and write every single card down, JH, KD, all of that. And I realized that the cards, when you fold them correctly and you have the 35 and 1, they're in the same exact order that you laid them. So you don't have to write them down beforehand. You can figure out your chain, make sure it works, and then you can go back and write it down.
And, like, the 35 and 1 is a stack of 35 cards on one side and 1 card
Mhm.
on the other.
Yep, because we removed all the 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s, so there's actually just 36 cards left.
Okay, so if you were to flip 1 card and that card's there, that's 35 and 1, but if you were to, like, let's say you did your whole deck and you have it all out. Okay, here's a quick
Yeah,
question before we start again too. I pick my 3 cards for
mhm.
my intention, and then tell
Your
me what the
salute to the spirit,
salute to the spirit and what?
and then the spirit's answer.
Spirit's answer. And then, I shuffle the deck,
Yeah,
and that just is like, okay, like, whatever is happening, or you don't shuffle the deck, you could just pick it up and however it is, like.
yep, and then this is what you can also do. So let's say you do this whole thing, and then it folds all the way down, and you have, like, 3 cards left. You're like, "Are you kidding? I was so close." You could do it again and then manipulate the cards. So you could actually sit there and try to figure out how it would fold if you moved the remaining cards or put them in a different order. So you can actually it doesn't have to be done organically,
So
is
the
what I'm
same
trying to
way as,
say.
like, that your little kid self, when you used to sometimes be, like, playing solitaire as a little kid, and you'd
Mhm.
be like, "Oh, no one's gonna see me, it's just
I'm
me
gonna
and me.
cheat. Yeah.
Hey, grandma, I beat solitaire,"
Yes.
and I'm talking from personal experience. Um,
I
that
did
was
it
actually,
too.
like, your little weird intuition kicking in because that's what you're kind of supposed to do with this game.
Yes, yes, it's okay to do that. It's not cheating, but then you're gonna wanna check it again, like, so manipulate the cards, make sure it folds, and then just it'll be in the right order, so do it again, make sure that it actually folds down, and then and then you have a working chain, and that's the thing. So this with the recapitulation chain, you guys can do this same exact chain, but now you can take it and you can manipulate the cards. So you can decide, like, let's change out clubs because this is a 7 of clubs was the card. Let's change out clubs for hearts. And so you can sit there and you can manipulate it that way and try to make it fold. And then you could say, let's change sevens for eights and see what happens.
And
It
so the
doesn't
exact
always
thing
work,
you
but you've
showed
got to
people
try it.
tonight is an actual chain that folded with intentions once,
Yep.
and, this is what you guys are kinda supposed to do, like, figure your thing, shuffle your cards, you play the game, quote, unquote, "until it works," and then after you can get the card game to work, you take that working version and you write down all the cards in order, and then you take egregores, totems, events, things, whatever from your life, and you'll start to see that they line up with this card game. And so what it's doing is you can sit at your desk and play this over and over and over again for an hour in your free time. And
Yeah.
in doing that, you might be looking at blank amount of time on your life. However much you're just getting like a magnified view in a very fast time on your life. Whoa, what happened? The camera decided it didn't want to be like that anymore.
Ugh.
You might have to tilt it again.
It's gonna change back because it's up now. It's the long ways.
It's okay. You have to wobble it. Do the figure eight that we all have to do like randomly, just like it's like walking through a spider web and no one can tell you just walk through a spider web.
This is not the way it was, though, was it?
It
No.
feels a little further toward you, but anyway, it will still be okay as long as
It's whatever, I guess.
it's whatever.
Deal
It
with
looks
it.
perfect. Deal
Okay.
with it. Technology, you're on notice. It's because Layla's not here because you know how in tip top shape it would all like when Layla's here, the electronics for the chats like we better work because Layla.
Layla's gonna go off.
Yeah, I feel like Grok and Chat GPT. Layla keeps them in tip top shape.
Like, we're not fucking with her.
Yeah, when I come on, they're just like, nah, whatever. Go on.
Okay. Nothing. 2 queens. So the 8 folds over. The middle card folds over. And now we reanalyze. We have 2. We could fold this, but the leftmost pair folds. So
It's weird that that would be like all red. An all
I
red
know.
part of your life. So it would be telling me, and I'm just such a layman, that you would have like an eventful time with love and money all together.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And that's so when you write it down, so they write it down, they write down where it folds because you might have a cluster of events where you have like 6 cards before it folds down. Sometimes you'll have like 13 cards before it folds down, and then all of a sudden it folds all the way down to nothing. And that might be a whole like a chain within a chain, like a cluster of events
Like, so
almost.
that would be where you're like sometimes on the good or bad, or just energy in general, where you're like, oh my gosh, I found $20 on the ground today. I had a pop tire. I talked to my sister on the phone and she had a baby or whatever. Like all these huge, big events where then like maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2 hours goes by, but you're kind of like, holy shit. Like I'm exhausted. Like that was a lot of life just then,
Yeah,
like those moments.
that's exactly it. You're just like, "Oof, it was one thing after another." And that's what makes me think, okay, so this is a chain that happens over a course of, you know, a day or a certain hour time span. But then you start seeing like, okay, everything is a part of another chain though. So like how many chains take place over years? Like how many and I guess you can set the intention for how long in between the cards as well. So let's say it was a bigger thing. You could say like 1 card a day
Well,
or
it's almost like if you were setting the intention, let's say your intention, like something really simple. You were like, I want a strawberry ice cream cone. And you it seems the events would happen in the span before you got the strawberry ice cream cone. So like whatever your intention is, if it's the new car, then the intention span, if it's a love of your life, then the cards might be longer in between or
yeah,
to be shorter dependent on when your love of your life might be entering the picture.
exactly. Okay, 8 and 8. See how much these are folding down now though?
Yeah.
8s, and then they match in suit.
A club and those two, 8 and diamond. Okay,
Yeah,
see?
the okay. And now we have a 10 and a 10, so they attract. And here we have 2 moves because we have the diamonds that attract, but then 2 kings. So we start with the kings because they're left.
And would you
And then
maybe wanna even try that sometimes if you had 2 options? Like, "Oh, I'm gonna leave the" because 'cause they're both kings, "I'm gonna leave the king of money." Well, I mean, it would have to be the after king.
yeah,
Like,
you
could
can
you leave
try
something
it.
out that would maybe be more beneficial to you?
You like, when you're folding it, or you mean, like, when it's happening?
Like, when it's how you had 2 options then? You could have folded the 8 or you could have folded the king. Like, you
Yeah.
had 2 options. Could you decide that you would rather face a king head on as opposed to the low 8 or 9, whatever that may be, or is one more or less beneficial?
I don't
Or
think
is it
that
all just about the
I don't think they'll fold in
fold?
the same order.
Okay.
So that's the issue, is that it's like, I mean, maybe, but then you better be writing down every card
Yeah.
as you go, because they're not this pile is not gonna be the same when you flip them over.
So if you were a person and everything with energy was working perfect in your life, like just you were like intentional, everything was just going smooth, blah, 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 you were content. Do you think you would be a person that would pick up the cards and just be able to constantly play them out?
Eh, I think the problem is that most of us have an issue with attention, because even when I'm following a chain and I'm making it work, and I'm intentionally following a chain, you will fall asleep. And this is just like lucid dreaming. Like, the algorithm, or let's say the main program, okay? The main program's job is to make sure that you stay hypnotized. So in a lucid dream, the dream's always like, it realizes you're awake, and it's like you've activated their firewall, or like
Like
their
Inception, where they say whenever they realize you're awake, the whole dream starts looking at you.
Yeah, it does. And so you're like, "Oh, okay," it slows down and it's looking at you and it's like wondering what you're gonna do. So when I forgot what my point was, dang it. It was
Anyway,
important. It fit with it, but it'll
it'll
come
come
back
up
around to it.
again.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll make the chat remember.
Okay. So we have 2 clubs here. And then analyzing here, we have 2 tens, so it folds back down. Nothing. 2 tens. Nothing, but here we have 2 hearts. Two hearts. 2 hearts again, but we also have 2 sixes. And 2 hearts.
So the
And
perfect
bingo, 35 and 1.
So the perfect fold is 35 and 1, regardless of what the card is that ends up alone.
Yep.
The Queen of Hearts wasn't your intention.
No.
What was that
But
you
a
ended?
magician always sees a chain through, so you
Mhm.
finish the chain. Your intention card, since we started with this was our that was our first card. So, like, the intention card, when it happens, or when it's returned to you, will be the 10 of the same suit. Whoop.
Okay, so now we go through that exact same chain kind of fast, but talk about it in a way that it's just a like week in the life.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Do you this exact same change, or do you
Yeah,
wanna, like, talk about,
like the
like,
exact
do you
same.
wanna just do a random one where we just play with the
Yeah, let's
cards, and
just do a
it's
random
not a
one. You
okay.
shuffle it.
So, pick a jack. Which one do we wanna talk about?
See, I will say learning about this a little bit is the exact same way of like maybe even where it's like where we talked about math or even dare I say gematria. Where it just makes your brain almost want like I don't know understand. I just or chess where you're like there's too many options for each thing. I don't want to learn this. But it is. Was it hard for you to learn?
No, because I played accordion solitaire, so I kind of understood what was happening. It's different because you analyze cards 1 and 4, and you play it all in your hand, and you pull from the bottom of the deck. But so I understood it pretty well, and like at first a little bit because you're reading it in a book and you're reading it in their writing, which is like the greater than less than symbol, JH, all those things, and you're like, you have to understand the shorthand. You have to, figure out all those little things. And so it is a little confusing, but once you get it, you get it. And you're like, oh, okay, this
I'm gonna
is
be like this for a minute.
okay. So let me actually talk about this really quick too.
I'm
So
such an
you do your
asshole.
first chain and it's gonna happen. Like, whatever you manifest is gonna happen. And so when I did my first one, the one where I ended up seeing that person in real life and they had moved out of the city and everything, I did the whole chain and it all happened, like, magically in such a weird way to where I could actually almost tangibly feel the things happening, like, before they happened, and it just felt surreal. And then I get to the 10 of hearts, and it didn't happen. Like, I was like, "Okay, well, this isn't gonna happen, this isn't gonna happen." Then all of a sudden, like, I go do, like, a regular routine thing, and I run into the person. I was like, "What the fuck?" It fucking happened, and I thought it was a period of, like, 4 hours. So, everything else was happening rapidly, rapidly, rapidly. But then this is what it tells you, is that it's like there's all these different ways to get what you want, right? Like infinite possibilities, but maybe for the thing that you want, if you want it at a certain time, there's only one way to fucking get it. And so
Okay.
in order to get it, you have to observe these certain events in this certain order. So that's all it's doing is giving it to you. So the very first time that you do a chain and you follow the entire chain through, you're gonna get your 10. You're gonna have it happen. And it'll do fucked up things to your head, like, in to me, it was a good way, but it makes you see reality so different, and that's what I mean by fucked up. It makes you
Okay,
view
and
reality
back
different.
to like the Mary uh
Stuart?
Stewart. Can you set like the cards like if you were playing as Mary Stewart? Like what would she have been actually trying to do? Like show us an example of that as those 3 cards. Like we're Mary Stewart. We know in the morning that they're going to drag us down and they're going to decapitate us and we are playing, no pun intended, for our lives. And then tell us why you picked those cards, and then we'll just pretend we're in the moment of any one of the hands she played.
Okay. So, in this instance, her intention is to force her way out of the situation, right? Like, so her intention will be a jack of spades. It I would almost guarantee it was a jack of spades because this isn't normal everyday life. Like, your execution is not that. Has nothing to do with money and very little to do with emotions. I mean, yeah, emotions are probably running high, but that's not the bigger issue. So it'd be a jack of spades, force or willpower. So that it would be her intention card. Her next card, I told you, is usually a 9 or a 7, and it doesn't matter which one, anyone will do, but, like, the chains that I've successfully folded, and I've done it quite a few times now, um, you don't wanna do the same suit as your
Okay.
intention card. So, pick
Because
any
there's
other
no way
suit.
they can kind of, it's like
Yeah,
you're almost taking away a chance of something else later on that you're gonna need to flow.
yes,
Like you need them to be 3 different cards on the lay that gives you the best 3 different suits on the lay and 3 different cards on the lay that gives you the best opportunity almost to not get
yeah.
stuck.
So, a 9 or a 7, so this would be a flag with emotion, and I mean,
That
if
makes
you could.
sense. You wouldn't wanna, like, love work, love work, love work,
Yeah,
nothing to do with any money or outside experience. You wouldn't wanna just worry about money work, no love. It's, like, kind of crazy, like, if you look at the cards in that kind of way, you need your life to the better balanced your life is and kind of all spread out doing these things, then the better the cards are gonna flow.
yep.
which is really
Exactly.
just like if you don't know anything about cards, it's telling you like it's good to work hard, love hard, like know what your willpower is, and like it's giving you lessons even if you never touch it.
It is, absolutely, that's exactly it. Okay, so then I would pick I just anything that you know is gonna absolutely be something that you see. So, I like aces there, but you could do a queen, like a persona or something, or a rule or law, but I feel like an external event is a really good one. So,
Okay.
an external event with money is what
Okay,
I
so
have here.
in this, if I'm Mary Queen of Scots, I'm looking at this.
Mhm.
I need my willpower to win in the end. I
Yes.
need love somewhere to bring in power or money or influence to somehow finish up this chain. And then everything else after that is how it's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, if I was starting this chain, immediately I would start with my intention. So if you got to close your eyes or whatever, but just be very specific about it. Then I'm going to do outwardly, I would do my flag. So this is a flag with emotion. So maybe you're just like, "Oh, touch my heart or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So this is my salute to the spirit. Then I wait for the spirit's answer. So then all of a sudden I'm going to see an external event with money. It could be somebody freaking dropping a quarter on the ground, something like that. So then when I see it, then I'm like, "Okay, game on. My chain is on." But she would just be doing the same thing. She'd just be sitting here folding the cards.
And so that's just a completely organic deck of cards that you're doing right now.
Yeah, I shuffled
So
them
when we
even,
get
so
stuck, we're gonna tell you guys this is kind of what she'd be doing. She's sitting there, she's still waiting for her thing. She set her intentions, those are her cards. She started her chain by doing like touching her heart, and then she's like, maybe she had a coin in her pocket, and then she
yeah,
dropped it on the floor. Like she knew she could start her own through the beginning herself of her quote unquote spell, but it's not really a spell. She's just seeing the outcome
and
anyway.
and they would have seen it as magic. They would have seen it as a spell. Like, I think of it scientifically as a freaking a cheat code and algorithm.
And honestly, even though she's like, "Oh, I almost got it. If I would have had just one more hour, if I would have had just one more week, if I would have had," we could also argue that whatever's meant to be is meant to be.
Yeah,
And she was going to see that outcome every single time, no matter how much time she had.
yeah, exactly. That was the outcome.
Yeah. So it's like the, as
You
above,
don't
so
get to
below,
cheat
as
your
within,
ride or
so
die death.
yeah.
Maybe
Like,
maybe a certain amount of times, but really, do you ever cheat death? I think it taps you on the shoulder when it's your time.
and so in some of the ways, would she even, and I don't know if you could do this or not, would for her, the jack, let's say it was her, the ace was a certain king, queen, it represented a family member or a loved one that was gonna do the thing, and then, like, she knew what these 3 intentions were, even the people that they represented on the final fold. She was just trying to get outwardly to have some control.
Well, you almost don't wanna limit it to who the people are gonna be because it's gonna happen in a weird way. Like,
Okay.
so if
You
it's a
don't wanna try to
persona
see the event that
no,
much. You wanna have
no.
intention in the final thing and then let like, God, the universe, whatever, dictate the in between.
The ones you're gonna wanna plan on your chain are the hearts or not the hearts, the sevens and probably the nines. So your flag events, your little fidgets, and the intakes. 'Cause, like, your intake might be eating your lunch, your intake might be, like you don't wanna plan the communication, so you can, like, if it's a heart, you can send to your kid or whatever, "Love you," or whatever, but usually, when you get the 8 of hearts, they're gonna text you that, and you're like, "There it is. There it is." It's like, you don't have to necessarily do those, those are things that are just gonna happen,
So,
or
play it
Chaney's
out
gonna be like,
more.
"Here's your money tip." So there's my 8 of diamonds, I'm like, "Hmm, there we go." Okay, so keep going?
Yeah, yeah. Play it out a
Okay,
little more because I wanna see you get stuck so you can explain what you mean of, like, "I'm gonna rearrange this."
okay. What if it folds? That'd be wild. Then I'd have to do this chain, though. I set an intention for Mary Stuart, so.
Well, it would be funny if it folded perfectly because you aren't going to get decapitated.
It's true. Okay. So 10 and 10. This folds down. And then we have another 10 and 10.
Let me make this bigger for everybody.
I know it's a weird angle again.
I know. Here, I'm going to make it big. It's fine. Pink. See how long they can get?
Those two do match, but I also have one here. So we go with the leftmost one. And again, the diamonds match, but so do the heart and the heart. So this folds down. I'm going to go ahead and put this up here. Okay. And then those fold down, but so do these, the king and the 7. So
see how long her chain looked for a minute, and then now it's shrinking. That would have been like a big cluster of life events for a while.
Yeah.
Or a busy time for Mary Stuart in the cell.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't see any down here, so we're finally to that last one on the right. But even then, it's still folding down again. Now I have to reanalyze in those 2 hearts. Like, look how much that shrank down. In a whole bunch of different folds.
And if you guys are curious about this, you'll be able to watch and see the pattern of what she's doing. And she did explain everything pretty well. I also want to give Abbie the opportunity because this is the like very first time she's ever tried to like put it together and verbalize it to a whole bunch of people, that if she watches this and feels like she missed anything or she'd rather do blank or whatever, then we might even redo this and like put it out somewhere else. But this episode, it'll always be everywhere you find the Secret Society of Good Guys. So make sure you like and subscribe to wherever you're at. But it'll also be uploaded onto Abbie's channel. So make sure you go and find her, and she will be available and everything for the chats for any questions that you have, or reach out to her if you have questions. This is only one of the things of the dream hackers and of the, Carlos Castaneda and all these like almost Russian spies of sorts. They were almost Russian super spies, or if they weren't, all of what you guys know as the shadow agencies of the entire world all use these techniques that every other technique they were doing, but they didn't use this one. So it's just like John D is such an interesting character in the world playbook.
I know, and I don't really know as much about him as, our friends Thomas, but
We are gonna, and there's probably a whole bunch about John D, and I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive in the IlluminatiComic.com that him and Donut are doing. But
oh, I bet.
also, because we finally will have this episode out, it will be easier for us to chit chat and conceptualize and talk about it later on, so you guys can kind of go back to it. So even if it's not your cup of tea, it is something we do bring up since the Disney episode, since we were all in person the very first time was when it first came up. And so it's par for the course. It's part of like all of the events when I set my card intentions of having Abbie do this for us. It would have been a long chain of cards, but
Yeah, this was a long chain. Or it had a major Ace of Spades block on it.
But even right till the end, which would have been so interesting, even right down to getting to the show, we would have had all these spades, and we would have been like, I don't even understand how it would have been a long chain like that toward the end. And we would have been like, I don't even understand how this is going to come together today.
Yeah.
And then
There were so many spades right there. It was spade heavy.
9's 9. So the king goes on top because that's the new obstacle. Or is obstacle? Would that
almost
be a
wanna
right
lay
word?
these both like, I'm gonna set this here just so we can see it, so in case we have to, because 'cause we're gonna try to manipulate, right? Because okay, so here we have that. But as you can see, if I don't have a heart or a king, this is not going to fold. So even though, so right there, I can see.
So if Mary herself got to this point over and over again with a different 4 cards, this is essentially what happened to her that night. She played this game over and over and over again, and she kept getting these cards. So one of the, let's say it was the first time she was playing, what would have been something she tried to change around in her deck?
So let's say, I mean, the problem is I don't know how these exactly folded, but that's why you have to refold it. Okay, so let's look for a heart card in here.
Could
Like
she
where?
have played from, like, not even because she didn't have a pen and paper, maybe she didn't have a journal where she was writing it all down. Would it be possible for her to always go back to the original 3 cards, fold those cards again, and then play the game again?
Yeah, you just use those 3 cards. You just lay those 3 cards out every single time. But see, we don't even have a heart in here at all for a long time. So this would have been a really hard. None of these are hearts. See that?
And that's so interesting if you were playing as her toward the end of her life, like, everybody that loved her, there was nobody around anymore. Like, either they were killed, they died, they were quieted, they were and so, it's like
Yeah,
she might have played it over and over again, and the same thing kept she needed love to save her, and there was all this love in between, but maybe it was a whole bunch of
all towards
small
the
love of
beginning.
the peasants, of the small people, of the outside thing, but it was never the big hearts that she needed to come in and kind of clean it up.
But okay, so the other option would be a king. So right here is where we'd have to change it. So so we would know from here on out, like we would need the king possibly as the last card. So what we could do is take this and fold this whole part of the deck, which would be our first 3 cards. Okay. And then all of these, we're going to actually just change the order. So it's better if you have them fold. Okay, so our first 3 cards, right? So then we would do this part of the deck again, the whole
Okay,
entire
so let's
fold.
say we went through it in the exact same fold
Yeah.
again, and now you're at the end cards, let's pretend.
So we're at the end cards. So
Because
then I would
all
sit
that
there and
should
go,
fold the same. You just well,
yeah,
the king taking the king out, though, might not fold those earlier folds now.
yeah, no, it might not. So that's the issue. So let's actually just put these back in order. So these are all here. So yeah, those folds might not be the same, but we're gonna pretend like they are. Wait, but this was the king
And yeah,
of.
we might have to do this because we might have to do another,
This was the
one
king
where
of
we have
hearts.
a
Okay,
written down too.
yeah.
Okay.
So let's pretend it's like that. Okay.
Okay.
Um. So what I could do now is I could look at these cards that are left, and let's try to figure out how we can get them to fold down. Um. With this being
The 3rd
probably the
card?
last card, the last card,
Okay.
because we don't have another heart in here, so we have to have a king to make it fold on top of the
Uh-huh.
king. So I could do. We have 2. Like if you look at, I would look at it like this. Like we kind of have like by
3
suit maybe.
options.
Yeah. And so you can sit there and go, okay, um, if we want to fold that down, we'd
Well,
need
it's
the knight of
curious now that
spades.
you're even talking about it because even in the poker of it all, like how we learn how to play in suits and straights and things like that, that's what your brain's doing with this.
Yeah,
Is it's working in those same exact ways that poker wants you to play. So if maybe like you can even see maybe the divination that they were doing if we were world leaders sitting down with poker chips on a green table and then trading these cards around.
yeah. So let's just put random cards up here. So 9. Um, let's do one of these. Uh,
See, like right now you're speaking another this part, I'm like, I don't know what you're up to, but you're gonna explain it to us again
I'm
when we
just
fold.
trying to be a little bit random here, so we could sit there and try to get it to fold down a little bit without. Okay, so here it would fold. Let's try it, and then right here we would fold. Um, we've got to get rid of diamonds. These will match up. This can match up with it there somewhere, or the 8 can match up there.
And you're
So
almost getting good at doing this computer program. So you're like looking at all these things in a way that we're like, you're speaking, some math we don't know yet. But it's like it's gotten quicker for you.
she's speaking German. Okay. Mm, we'll try it. Okay, we'll try this. Let's see what happens. Mm, okay, so that wasn't the card I would, but you can see what I'm doing. I'm just sitting here playing with the cards and
Manipulating
seeing
the
if I
end.
can get them to fold out. And then when you're done, like if you actually get it to fold out, you have to go back and check because one of those folds might have been wrong in the deck there, like because it might have changed another one of the folds.
And if the thing that you did when you end up on the times where you have the 2 options, you gotta remember what one of the 2 options you picked, like what order you did it. So if
Yeah.
it's like money and love, you have to be like, "No, I have to like touch this dollar bill in my pocket first and then go and kiss my wife on the face."
Let's see if this will actually show up. So if I wanted to write these down, this is how they do it. They would do bracket. You
I don't
can't
know
see
if
what
it
I'm
will.
writing.
But I might be able to see it, or you can type it in chat. Nope, your phone's on the thing, unless you're
Let's
done with your phone. But you might
mm,
if somebody has a weird question.
see if a darker marker will work.
Okay.
So
Yes.
you do the less than symbol, and then we do JS. Okay.
So that
9 of
means
hearts,
lesser than jack's spades.
ace of diamonds, queen of hearts, and this is where it folds because queen of hearts and the 9 of diamonds attract each other. So that's a fold right there. So here I would put the greater than symbol. So that's one cluster of events. So then I'd do the next bracket. And sometimes it's just one card before it folds again. So here I ended with queen of hearts, so that would be 7 of hearts, 9 of clubs, 7 of diamonds. So this is actually just shorthand for a chain. When I write them down, I do it like this. I'll just do it. So jack of spades, and then I actually write down what the card means, like intention. I don't write the jacks of whatever that is because I know my intention. But I just write it downwards. I don't do the cluster of events because I'm like, I'll just pay attention. So ace of diamonds, queen of hearts. But I will write down the ace of diamonds is a external event with money. So that way I know what it is when it happens. Like that way I can sit there and track it, and I'll take a picture of the list that I wrote down and use it as the background on my phone.
Oh, so you can kind of even like, "Oop, now I'm here, and now
Yeah,
I'm
so
here."
I don't even have to open my phone to look at it. I don't have to look at a piece of paper. I don't have to sit there and like flip the cards over in my like manually flip them over to check. I can actually just look at the background of my phone. I just kind of hit the button really quick, look at the background, and then I know what my next card is.
Well, I'm gonna look at questions too, but do you have anything else you want with those cards? And I'll turn that little thing off,
That
and then
one's
I'll
done.
put us like that.
I can leave on this one, huh?
Yeah,
I can
and
look at the
then
chat too, maybe.
yeah, you can look in the chat too, and then if you do, go through it and notice a question that you wanna answer, read the question too. And thank
Okay.
you guys for bearing with us tonight and
Mm,
my nerdy little, like, I'm trying to be a professional vibe, but it's really just because I don't, um, this is something that, it's like horoscopes where people that they're like, "I'm not into stars. I'm not into
yeah,
that sort of woo." And then we're like, "Well, the billionaires are." They say the millionaires aren't into astrology, but the billionaires are. This is along the same vein,
yeah,
essentially. Like John D was the court astrologer. And so this would have been one of the like woo woo things that he was up to.
So that's the thing. Like somebody's asked me too about tarot. Like, well, could you do this with the tarot cards? And it's like, why overcomplicate it? Because then you're gonna want to be like reading it differently. Just use a regular deck of cards. I mean,
And you
by all
guys,
means, do that if
I
you
want
want
to
to.
tell you there is actually an app. It's not Abbie's favorite. There's things she wants to tweak about it, and people in the chat were like, "Thomas should do this," and I'm like, "We've actually talked about part of an app or getting together doing some sort of program so we could do it in the exact way that with all the rules that Abbie says has to be there. So we could also have a link. So you would just be able to go somewhere and click this link and have it set up on your computer. But Abbie uses an app on her phone too, and she'll tell you the differences of that as well.
Yeah, the app is just called, I believe it's just called Medici. And it's like this green looking little, which I have my green screen on, so you're not gonna be able to see it, but it's a green looking, it's
I can look it up.
like a sage green, and it's just a rectangle and it has a M.
Mm-mm-mm. I'm gonna look up Medici app. Those are all medical. Those are all medical. Sage green. Nope. Medici Solitaire. Is it an iPhone or an Android? Oh, I think I found it. Ding ding. Does it look like this before I plug the wrong thing? And you guys, I just want you to know, Abbie's making so much Solana off this advertisement tonight. She isn't. She
I
isn't.
wish, damn it.
I know that would be cool. But so this is
Yep,
it.
that's it. Okay, and it is a really cool app. It doesn't fold the cards for you, you can't do that, like, but you can, it'll give you every single card, and you can put them in the right order. So, the nice thing is when you're doing a chain, like, it'll record your chains. So, let's see. So then it'll show me like the next card in my chain. So this one is like return of money owed. So then it tells me, okay, 6 of hearts is your next card. So the second I see, or I do a movement like with emotion. So I'm driving and I'm like listening to a freaking song and I'm feeling it in my heart or whatever, then that would be a movement with emotion. The second it happens, I mark it, because that's the thing. You have to mark every event. That's what I wanted to say. So is you don't have to mark it on paper, but you have to mentally mark the event. Like that is this card. You have to like say it out loud, think it. You don't have to say it out loud. You have to think it specifically and mark that as your event.
Is that like acknowledgement
Yes.
that you're like, okay, now we're on here. Like you're on the script almost with the acknowledgement.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
then my next card would be the 10 of hearts, which is like this one's a money one, so my card would have been the 10 of diamonds, but there's always a result, or with emotion, there's always a result of something else, and it might not even be your result, it might not even be something that you were waiting to happen, but um you can see somebody saying like, "Oh, you know, I was waiting for that to happen all day," or something like that, then that can be your 10 of hearts. So, or your 10 of whatever other thing. So just because that's not your intention card, it's still a chain in your event. It's still a link in your chain. And
So even if you call out the card, it could be something that you're outwardly watching me deal with love, and you're like,
yes,
"Oh, this is my 10 of hearts."
yes,
Like,
it's
where
an
it just dawns on
observation.
you all of a second where you're like, "This I thought it was gonna be like, I'm gonna call one of my kids, or
Yes,
I'm gonna, talk to my mom on the phone," but you're, like, watching me go through a whole, like, I'm buying flowers and all skipping on it, and you're like, "Oh, shit." Like, it dawns on you, and you
yeah,
have to acknowledge that, or you're gonna keep getting that card over and over again, like, you can't fold it in.
yeah. And that's why you don't want to pick the things ahead of time. Just the things that are
Just the
very.
3.
Yeah, just like the 7s and the 9s, pick those ahead of time if you need to, but even then, like, I don't always pick my 7s, my intakes, because I can literally just intake my bank account, or, like, pick up a quarter on my desk and put it in my pocket, and I'm intaking it that way, like, Like, I don't have to plan those necessarily, but it's good to kinda have an idea. Like, if I know I'm not gonna be in a place where I can check my phone for a while, but I know my next card is, like, the Queen of Hearts, so I've gotta find a person with emotion, but then after that is an intake, then if it's an intake with or, like, a flag with money, then I might want a coin in my pocket, so I remember to do the flag
That
with
you
money if I
have it
do it.
there right at the
Yeah,
end of your chain.
yeah,
Like, you're like, "I might need this coin if money doesn't come up right away just to drop or just to
yeah, to make my chain flow.
flow." Yeah, okay. So you could even there could be a couple it makes me wonder in a way, like, these little weird rituals that we go through that we don't even know about, and I don't know why the 3 things, it kept making me think, like, let's say your 3 items, so you wouldn't get caught up in your chain. You would have something borrowed, something blue, and something like the things that a bride wear on her wedding day have on her wedding before she walks down the aisle. So any of those 3 things in her chain that were to happen would help her get to the aisle if her queen of hearts was her main or jack of hearts was her main card.
That makes so much sense.
Doesn't it? Like, and like,
Yeah.
even the math thing, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what if somebody's chain like, if they were folding a chain and their goal was free energy, and they just wrote down their chain, like, would they get all these out there? Would the chain read an equation?"
Well, it kinda makes you feel like every single spell is like a math equation.
Because all it and then you're okay. Another thing, how we hear these songs, the Disney lyrics or the bibbidi bobbidi boo of it all, and then there's, like, these fun, like, "A cat's meow and dippity dow and dippity la la" well, I don't even know what the words are. I just made those up.
I like how you
And
did it to
yeah,
Bibbidi Bobbidi
and I
Boo.
got into it, my eyebrows, like
It was good.
so, like, could we be singing a chain in these words without even knowing it. And so in singing these chains like, "Bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead." Are we the chorus, is that the intention? And then the lyrics, we're singing chains without knowing it.
God, that's a freaking good question, yeah.
And could singing the chain help somebody move their chain along? If they were playing like we're talking about it in cards, but the elite work in a scale of so much bigger, they could be talking about it in states.
And the cards just represent flows. So,
Yeah.
like, if we're just talking about the flow of money, we're just talking about the flow of emotion, we're just talking about the flow of everyday life and the flow of force and willpower. And I mean, I can't even think of what other flows you could track, but you could. Oh, and you could do just one specifically. They dream hackers teach you how to do that as well, but it's different. It's kind of takes like it takes drawing a map. It's a whole different thing. Like if you take the map of your town, usually all if you're doing a chain just following the flows of money, like think of a symbol that would represent money, like a diamond, and find all the institutions in your town that would represent money, like the banks and stuff like that, and then, like, probably the ones that are probably the biggest corporations that make the most money in the town, and then you should be able to look on the map and draw, like, a diamond, or you could even make it a triangle, it doesn't matter, but then if you walk that path in that shape, then you're chasing that flow, and then you manifest as well.
Huh.
So, that's a way to track just one flow. But I feel like with the 4 flows, for whatever reason, they weave together really well.
Do you think in the 4 flows of it all, they could even be like, if you were next level, they could even be directional? And then we could even speak in a language of those flows, and we could put buildings. Once you hit a certain building, if you knew the flow, if you got the answers, then you would know I turn left, right, center. I could go east, west, blank. And if there needed to be another building, and so part of it made me think of like all of the wonders of the world could be like set up on this idea. I know we always just talk about mind palaces, like that's a big
Yeah.
like like wand, but that's a John Dee thing as well, isn't it?
I don't know, I mean, I learned about mind palaces from
Carlos Castaneda?
no, I
Oh,
read, Moonwalking with Einstein because there's the whole world
Memory Palace?
memory champions cha m world memory championships.
And
Like,
so have
well,
you
they'll
oh,
memorize, like
okay.
12 deck of cards and
Or
stuff.
like the pi, how far back you can know the numbers of
Yeah.
pi. And, and these people will use these kind of mind palace. If you don't know what it is, real quick, it's a way you can look on the episode Weird Science with me and Juan, and we get a really if you ever wondered why Donald Trump's on the front in a bathtub, it'll make sense to you, but it's a way that you can pick any place in your life, but a lot of people will do, like, their childhood home that they knew by heart, and every part of their childhood home, they'll put a memory in there. If it's a deep memory or hard to remember, they might put it in a sock drawer, an underwear drawer, by a ring, in a cabinet, by a certain spice, next to the knife, like, it might be very detailed. But if it's a big thing, they have to remember right away. Like, I always forget it. My wife always yells at me. I have to get the cottage cheese at the store.
So
Let
let's
me
make
put
it
down
outlandish, though.
yeah,
Like,
let's put yeah, like the detailed ones, sometimes you can tuck away in those places. But the things that you're like always in trouble for that you never remember, you put them like Donald Trump in a bath of cottage cheese right when
yep.
you walk in my front door. And so that way it comes up every time you're walking through your mind palace, you always see Donald Trump first in the cottage cheese, but that's usually the thing that you need to remember most in your life, other than, some esoteric fact that you're like, oh, I always forget Ouroboros. Where am I going to stick that? I'm going to write the words etched in my kitchen. I'm going to put a welcome mat at my door, except it's going to be written Ouroboros and it's going to have the Ouroboros on it. And then every day I'm always going to remember it. Like, these are like the weird little things of building a mind palace, but some people theorize like something like the Taj Mahal or the pyramids or go whatever great that it was somebody else's mind palace that they put it together in such a way so precisely and then built it in the real world. So, if everything was a flow, if everything in that like omnipotent God way, if everything isn't known because time isn't real. So whatever you might do 100 years from now, it always is the same way as whatever happened 100 years ago always is. Um, could people that see that flow have put buildings or things around that would withstand the test of our time to help with these kind of ideas? That's a big, huge question, but what are your thoughts?
That's a freaking great question. I love it because that ties back into dreaming because one of the aspects of dreaming is that it is storage. It's cloud storage. And so we always think that our memories are stored here, but this is just a receiver, really. The dream space is where the real world is. So let's think of this like a computer. Let's just pretend like it's like a Chromebook where we don't have very much RAM. So we're actually storing most everything in the cloud. So our brain's sort of the same way. Like we have a little bit of random access memory, but a lot of it is just stored in the cloud. Um, so when we dream at night, if we don't recall our energy from the day, we don't recapitulate, then at night when we're dreaming, we'll sit there and dream weird things like bananas, like somebody peeling bananas with their toes or something like that. But that is you actually storing a memory, it's something that happened during the day in a really weird way. So that way it's there when you go to recall it later.
I'm so
So
glad
you're
you brought
doing
up the
mind
dream
palaces in the
space.
dreams.
And I finish your thought.
No, that was
Like,
it.
oh, okay. Um, in that way, you know how sometimes like I could be telling you, I don't know, let me make up any scenario so you could, and I'm going to tell you I dreamed about it. So then you could say that could actually mean this. Like how you do. So
Okay.
I'd be like, I had a dream and my dad was a road runner and he was like chasing me with Acme missiles, and it was so weird, and I just felt like I kept falling off a cliff, and I never hit the ground, I never died, but I kept like it was repeating, and I felt like I was aware it was repeating in the dream.
Okay. So I would think you're in some kind of looping cycle with your dad, and whether he's a road runner, so he's fast, he's elusive, like, so maybe you feel like you're trying to get on the same page or something, but you never can because he just I don't know. That's kinda where my
But
brain goes.
okay, the reason I brought it up into that kind of thing is because you can't be so literal when folding your cards to think, Chaney, it's because your dad's a roadrunner and you're a coyote. And or like Abbie could say, it means your dad's fast. It could mean because he's really quick-witted. And so you're always feeling like kind of like, oh, I wish he would. So
You
sometimes
can
in the
never
like
get him back.
yeah, like in the folding cards kind of way. And just so you guys know, my father has passed away a long time ago. I wanted to say my father's passed away, so it's not I was like, let me pick someone safe to use here to because
Yeah.
before I make up this weird whole scenario about me and my dad being roadrunner, I was just like trying to think of something so weird. But I think sometimes in folding your card way, if you're looking for something so literal, this is love, this is love, this is going to concern me, this is so you're kind of holding yourself back where you have to think of it more in a dream way of like something silly like I could be looking at Bitcoin and Abbie doesn't care at all. Like she's doing whatever and it's some little weird coin that it doesn't mean anything. It's worth 4 cents, but I just send it to her and it's a number. And I don't know that thing it was worth 4 cents. It literally is almost worthless. It doesn't matter in the world at all, but I have no idea that was something in her chain she needed. And so then she's like, "Holy shit, that was just a 7 of diamonds," or whatever. What would that be? Like
Uh, well, if I was just observing it okay, that's the thing, is that
because it could be an
almost
act of
any
love.
event yeah,
Like,
almost
you
any
can
event
decide, you just have to claim
yes,
what it is.
you can claim what it is, and almost any event that happens in your life or that you observe can be any card. So, you giving me money could be yeah, it could be love. It could be just a communication about money, or it could be just an everyday communication because we do this all the time. It
We
could
could
be
work together and you could be
yeah,
getting me a sandwich, so it was just a work thing.
yeah. So, it just depends on what I decide to like, I know it's an event, and so that's what I decide to see it as, or it was the event that was up next on my chain. But it's weird how like and that's the dream hackers in some of their forums said that you will start to notice that any event can be anything, but it's what value you assign it.
And that's kind of in that way, that's kind of life
Yeah,
in general. Like, every single thing where somebody's like, yeah, like, how you're feeling is none of my business. Like, how I make you feel is none of my business. Like, those kind of things, because 'cause you're deciding what character I'm playing in your flow at any given time. So,
yeah,
if you decide to make someone a queen of hearts, it might even change the energy for if, like, you keep not getting a fold on a certain card, then maybe you need to change the energy of how you're looking at that card or that thing in life. So it's
yeah.
like, is external, being in you're just like almost in a fourth wall way, you're giving okay, here's woo-woo about it. I've lost people near and dear to me, and some of the people that I've lost near and dear to me, I've gotten the luxury of knowing they were gonna die and having that time to know they were gonna die and being able to solidify with them in the flesh how they were gonna tell me they were there after death. And that is what I encourage when anyone I know is going through these really hard times of death and, um, they're scary and you don't know what to say. All you can say is sorry a lot of the time, or when they're going through it, I always just, like, remind them to, like, "Hey, if they're still here, even if they're on a machine, even if they're in the hospital, tell them in their ear because it's just all it is. You can tell them right now. If you never got the opportunity to tell the person you love how you are gonna recognize the event. So, it could be the birds, it could be a sunset, it could be your phone rings once and then hangs up. Whatever you decide, but I feel like love and heaven, the universe, all of us, energy, whatever names you wanna put on it, it is trying to interact with us all the time. We are just MK Ultra brainwashed in our cubicle, having to pay our bills and
Whatever
barely
blinders
breathe
on.
and
Yeah,
fight with people about like, "Oh, Abbie's gonna bring green bean casserole. She knows I bring green bean casserole." Like, I make specific green bean. She always tries to show me up at Thanksgiving. Like, then I make something like this forced ugly event that's so petty and small. It's kind of like, I don't know. In a way, I think it's like that.
It and it makes you look at everything so different. All the spades in life suck a lot of the time, but you start to just see them as a part of a bigger picture and that those things have to happen for maybe the train on the way to work had to happen so you could get to work that day. Like, this maybe the
Or
intention was
it's
just
like, is that why sometimes even, like, the little things happen, like, I couldn't find my cord. I couldn't do this. You're like, "It's a spade. It's a spade. It's a
Yeah,
spade." Because if you call out those tiny little things being spades, you're eating up your spades, and then
you
there's a
are.
lot more love and money to come,
And I feel like
or
even if
whatever
you're
the
not
good
actively
things are. I
working
hate
a
that
chain,
love and
you're
money.
observing the chain, and that's what that Medici app does too. They do a card of the day. So you gotta just recognize the event, and let's see what the card of the day is actually. Let's go back. I don't
If you
manipulate this
guys
app
remember
very
on
well.
Sunday nights how we harass Layla, and by the way, shout out to Layla. She is really busy because our girl's a hustler. She's a mover and a shaker. She's doing things. Like, just since you guys have known Layla in the last year, you've watched her buy a house and start a business. And she isn't just starting the business, and she like works every day full time and then goes to another job and works full time for somebody else. Like, so Layla is doing damn things. And so shout out to Layla. It's just because she's busy AF right now. So
Guess what the event of the day is?
Queen of Diamonds, Layla.
That's
Look at you
Layla.
guys. We just called out our event right now.
Yeah.
That's Layla. She's doing the damn thing. And I mean,
Layla.
everyone really, you want to just have money does not buy happiness, but it does buy a level of freedom. And people that have big hearts are the people you want to have all the money. And Layla has a big heart. Like, she has a heart that matches her mouth. So I think that's a um good thing about her. So shout out to Layla, and
We love
make
you,
sure
Layla.
you go over and all of you put I know, because the red heart's so trite. Like, why did I get all these red hearts specific? So maybe, oh, Queen of Diamonds, put a red diamond. So go and find all Layla's social media if you watch this
Yeah,
later, because she probably won't if
Q
she's not
diamond.
on it. This is
The
she's
diamonds on the emojis.
Layla wasn't on this one. She probably won't watch it. I'm gonna be real. I love her. I love that about her.
Yeah.
But so if you find her anywhere, go to Godpill Angel 333 on any of her social media, and you can put a red diamond, and maybe she'll wonder why and get back here
Or you could do a
and
Q
hit him.
diamond. Q with the
Yeah.
red diamond.
Oh,
Oh,
why?
but
I was like, why? Because of Q?
yeah, well, of course.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
all it's all related.
Yeah.
Um, but back to what you were saying though about like your loved ones dying and stuff, I wanted to say this because the interpretation of it all. Like, first of all, a big thing is if you have the luxury of knowing somebody's gonna die, forgiveness is a big thing for them too. Like, when my real dad died, he abandoned me when I was like a year old, and my sisters, they were 10 years old. But when he was dying, my grandmother asked me to call him, and I felt weird about it because I'd only met him a couple times in my life. But my sister called me and she's like, I just called him and I went off on him and he was crying and blah, blah, blah. She's like, such a piece of shit. And I was almost irritated at her. I was like, dude, the man's dying. So I call him and I felt weird about it, but was listening to my grandmother. And I he cried on the phone with me, but he couldn't talk, and I just said, "You know what? I just wanted to tell you that I love you and I forgive you because you did the best thing for me." I was like, "You gave me life and you gave me away, and that's probably the best thing you ever could have done for me." And I feel like people need to do that for people too.
Sometimes,
Forgiveness when you're dying.
yeah, it's so curious. Like, that is even people I've felt dead people in my life with no, like, all the life has left them, and with whatever life they can't even speak. I've felt
Yeah.
the energy from them to me say, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
I've felt it. I feel like
I
that's
felt
the
him
most
telling
the
me that
best.
too. Yeah. Like, I felt like he needed to hear that from me, and he was crying, but I know it wasn't from me screaming at him. It's because he probably needed that forgiveness because he never forgave himself.
But in a weird way, it's like if we're all just talking about flows and folds and flows and folds, sometimes like somebody's card that they've been held up on, because for an old person or certain people in like pain or whatever, death could be the gift. And whatever
Yeah.
happens, most people believe whatever your religion is, whatever you're, in heaven, Valhalla, whatever name is this grander than thing. Most people believe in that thing. So it's like this almost like lifelong card. You're playing all these little cards, games that you're doing, Medici, but then you have
Yeah.
one big flow. And
Yeah.
so it's like somewhere that person, when you let them leave like that, they're just hanging on to life, maybe just to hear that.
Yeah. I think so a lot of the time.
Or maybe be forgiven by any one person in life.
Yeah, just
Really
one person
forgiven.
just needed somebody to say it.
Yeah. Hmm. That's super interesting.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is a powerful thing. It's powerful for you too to not carry the burden of or the weight. And you're like, huh, I meant it when I said that. I really let that go.
Yeah. It's forgiveness is never almost never for them. It's almost always for you. But there's times when it's for them, but
Yeah.
usually it's the burden that you carry.
Both.
Yeah.
Everything's for everything.
Yeah.
Like,
It
where
is.
it's like all of them are attached. You decide on the thing. Like, one man's queen of spades is another man's queen of hearts.
Yeah, it is.
It sounds so silly to talk, but it seems like simple, like, girl, where I'm like, I popped a tire today, and you're like, what a spade, and I'm like, but I met this cute country man, he's gonna take me out to eat Friday, and you're like,
He
what a
changed my
heart,
tire.
yeah. Yeah.
Like,
So it's
"Oh,
like,
bitch."
oh, like those kind of flows. And
Yeah.
one of the old episodes, I don't remember who told me. I don't know if it's the episode I did with Binks or if it's the episode I did. Oh, no, I know who it is. You don't even know who I was about to shout out, which it would have broke the timeline if I did, and it wasn't this person, and I'm so glad I didn't say their name now because it would have, like, done something weird in the timeline. Somewhere this person would have been back on my timeline, and I don't want them to exist on my timeline, so it was, one of the episodes I did with Primal, Beast. Is that, uh, Primal Beast? That doesn't feel right. Primal Caleb. I know Caleb's real name. Everybody's handles always throw me off.
I know.
Anyways, you can look back on one of the episodes. He was like talking about that, like we all have these spirit guides. And of one of my spirit, and he's a person that tells people, like, one of his gifts is he can see people's spirit guides. And I've met more than one person that does this in life. Um, and so it is woo woo, take it what you will. Some of my audience out there is not woo at all. They're not having this part. But he like you have these spirit guides that kind of like, let's say they were the lowercase gods that God said in the Bible, you can worship everybody, everybody or nobody else but me, none of the other gods but me. It's
Yeah.
almost like you're not supposed to worship your spirit guides, like, kind of thing. They're just there to kind of guide you. And I've
Yeah.
actually in my younger days tried to have one of the images of one of my spirit guides in my house a few times because it looks similar to something and it breaks every time. But another spirit guide that I didn't even know about, because apparently you have more than one. And this is all me naively talking, getting educated by people that are smarter than this than me. One of them is naughty. Like, she's an asshole and she wears hats and she has big, huge hair. And
Just like
she
your drop dead Fred.
yeah, yeah, almost to where she is gonna constantly give me the spade. I have to eat the spade every time before any of the good things, but it was told to me in a way of, like, if I was working somewhere or doing something, she would, like, knock a glass onto the floor and shatter it, and I'd have to go and clean up that glass. Like, what the hell? How did that happen? I'd have to clean it up and, like, bend down and be on my knees, and then while I was down there, I'd find $100, or while I was down there, I would accidentally find a business card to the love of my life. Like, she gives me rewards, but always naughtily. I don't know if that makes
They
sense.
always got yeah. It there's a rose there, but,
Apparently
apparently there's
one
some
of her
thorns on that rose
things,
bush.
and this isn't a thing, this is All spirit guides cannot do this. But she can make herself visible in a mirror if I wanted her to. And I never even tried because it's like lucid dreaming with me, like, or like astral projection, like, or even flying once in my dream. I don't know. I'm probably such a control freak, but I don't even dream well. I think because anything can happen in a dream, and my brain is like not having it. Where
I love
I
it.
even flew like for a split second once in my dream, and it was too fast for me. I'll just keep it on my feet, thanks.
Or there's this. Okay, and this is what I forgot to bring up. Chantilly's principle. Okay, so this applies to patients of Medici. Your first chain's gonna work, and it's gonna blow your fucking mind. You're gonna be excited, and you're gonna want to do it again, and then it's probably not gonna work. And there's a reason why. It's like you're messing with the programming. So let's say it's like Meta or Instagram or TikTok. Like, what do they do when you sit there and fuck with things too much? When you hack into it and you work around?
Would you say it's
They cut
similar
off your
to
traffic.
like a lot of
Shadow
people,
ban.
or like any certain psychedelics? Usually with this, whatever psychedelic it is, the first time is bubble gum and, M&Ms.
Yeah,
It's like sprinkles. It's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And then the second time that you do it, it's like you're going down the tunnel of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and it's all like worms
bad.
crawling in the head of.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck? It's
So
almost like
that's
it, like, I don't know, is it addicting? They want you to come back to see the bad thing, or
no,
like the
no.
layer.
It's basically saying you fucking found a workaround and we know it. Like you just entered a cheat code. So now we're gonna
Oh, they're fixing the
They're
virus.
they're trying to fix the virus, yes. So the only way to work through it is to keep pushing through. So you might wanna back off for, like, a week and then try again, and it might not work. It might take you trying 6 or 7 times, but the same thing happens in dreaming. The second you hack into the lucid dreaming and you start lucid dreaming, then all of a sudden, like, I had my lucid dreaming shut off for a whole year. I was able to lucid dream, I was doing all these crazy things in dreams, and then all of a sudden it was I actually felt it was I asked to see behind the dream, and I saw behind the dream, and after that, it was like, "Nah, bitch, you fucking broke it, like, we don't even know what to do with you anymore." So then I couldn't lucid dream for a long time, and it's Chantilly's principle, like, basically, you're gonna go up against a wall. So it applies to patients of Medici as well, so you'll do it, it's gonna work, it's gonna blow your mind, it's gonna show you how things fucking work, but then you're gonna try it again and it fucking doesn't work, and you're like, that came together magically. Like things that shouldn't have happened, and then it worked. And then why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? It's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's just that you have to be persistent as fuck. You have to sit there and mess with them on your shadow ban.
Because they almost want you to give up.
They want you to give up, but once you give up, like once you unlock the magic of it all, and you don't give up, then you've leveled up. So the magic becomes the normal.
Huh. Yeah.
You have to level up, and in order to do it, you have to keep pushing through.
Do you think the powers that be on the movie that we're watching, we are watching an exact fold play out, and they might even give us the symbolism for it, like in numbers and hearts and diamonds and clubs, clovers?
I feel like I see them all over the place now, and I'm like, "Why the fuck is there a card on that? Why the fuck am I seeing that?" Yeah, I do.
It would be so curious. This would be a whole great movie dig, is to see, because would any director ever have been smart enough to lay cards throughout a movie that does a fold that ends up at the end with the 35 and 1?
That'd be wild.
It'd be a cool way to write a movie.
It really would
If you
be.
just, yeah. Hmm. Maybe we, and if any of you out there are watching this in any of the places that you're watching, if you'd be so kind to, one, hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and do all the things. But if you tag any of the places that the Medici specifically started and ended, Otherwise, we can totally go back and do it. And if you guys have any questions about it, do tag Abbie in it just to make sure she's going to be diligent about like looking at it.
Checking and replying, yes.
But it is curious, and we might do a like follow up to this at some other point. But I did want to throw that out too. And yeah,
Chaney, we fucking did it. We had
it's
our
fun.
10 of whatever. What would this intention be?
You don't
Money?
ask. That you should have asked it like a professor and be like, okay, if we were doing a test right now.
What was the jack card here, Chaney?
Today, I feel like it was a jack of clubs and a jack of hearts, right?
We were working too.
Yeah, it
I
was
would
like
even say
work
a jack
and
of spades because we had to freaking push our asses through it, willpowered it.
but everything is a different hidden language. And everybody always talks about the esoteric side, and people always say, like, who are the they, though? Who are the they? And sometimes the they doesn't make them feel good when you say Diddy for the last decade. And they're like, whatever. It's just honey traps. People just sex, 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 sex. Like, those could be now if you look at it, if people are folding things, some of the forced events might have to be bigger than others. And if you have a lot of money, you might be able to set up your cards in such a way that you can force huge events to finish your cards every time for world domination,
Yeah,
for,
what if
you
the
know,
false
like
flags are part of that even?
that's what I think. I wonder if like
Yeah.
certain of these, like was the Twin Towers a two of diamonds? And, like, is it, like, something that just has to happen in the play out of the storybook? Like, if we were to back out since whenever people are like some people are like, "We started the ritual at the Kennedy assassination," and some people are like, "We started the ritual in 1871," and some people are like, "We started the ritual when Kobe Bryant fell out of the helicopter got shot down." Some people are like, "We started the ritual the second" whatever thing
Yeah.
you pick. Um, what would the fold of the cards be? I don't know. It is curious. It is, it
It would be curious to take a timeline of, I don't know, even a person or, yeah, like an event like the Kennedy assassination and just, like, see if you could mark cards just based off something that's well documented. You
I,
can do it even with, like, a movie.
or this is a whole 'nother thing. Would you in your life could you, if you were so good, like, if there's levels to this thing, does everyone in your life eventually get a card name, a number, a thing, and you kind of puppeteer them in a way? Like, are you Tommy Mottola, and each one of the cards and things is one of the artists on your record label, and each one of the things, each one of their albums that puts out represents a thing, just so you know that you're gonna hit this magic number this year for your New York Wall Street thing and whatever shitty. It just seems like they could be playing with the card is just you're putting what intention on all the things. You could probably decide if you wanted to, if you wanted to make all the diamonds hearts and all the hearts diamonds, if you wanted to draw different figures over all of the things, and as long as you still had the four things, as long as you could probably do that too. But they
Yeah.
were just like working in a language that apparently a lot of other people were working with. I just feel like Las Vegas and every big gambling place.
And that's where it all becomes ones and zeros, like in the Matrix. So it's weird that Elon Musk posted that the other day. When did you first start seeing the Matrix? And I feel like it's not that I didn't see it before. I did, and I theorized that it was there, but it was when I started seeing these stupid fucking chains because it's all like, if this is an algorithm, then it's math, then it's like a code, then this is a program, and if it's a program, then it's all ones and zeros.
If like you change the name programmer with God, and
Yeah,
the programmer would know the entire outcome. And every
yeah,
once in a while, there'd be a virus or there'd be a kernel and every once in a while you'd need a defrag, which maybe is
yep.
you sleeping,
Yeah, you have defrag dreams all the time too. The
where you said
defrag
like,
dreams are
and
like,
then you put a banana on.
yeah, a banana on, and then you look over and then you see blue bunk beds and you're like, what the fuck is it? Like, there's no plot to this. It's just, I feel like that's your brain defragging.
There's no rhyme or reason. It doesn't have to make sense in the, I don't
No,
know. It's mind blowing.
it
We could
is.
do a whole nother show on dreams. I know.
We
Do
could-
we want to talk about anything going on anywhere else, or should we wrap it up?
I think we should wrap it up.
All right. We should soft you out of the room. This is where, like, for real, my wife would be like, no, you did good. We should just finish it.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You could just whoop, put a bow on it. Like, don't ruin it. Just because, or, those people where they tell jokes and it's like they crack you up and then they add to it and it cracks you the fuck up. And then
Yeah.
they keep going. And then you're like, you went a little too far. Just,
You were done. You were done. Yeah.
you could have walked away a hero.
Yep.
Anyways, I love you guys so much. I hope some of you out there got something out of that. It's done for us. We got it out of the way. And Abbie's been needing to do it for years. And when she takes it in, there might be another. It might have been perfect.
I'm
So
reclaiming a lot of personal energy here. So
yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with us and doing it. Make sure you go and give love to Layla and Thomas, and we will be back Friday for another episode of Secret Society of Good Guys. So make sure you turn down your TVs a tad because Juliette Lewis will blow your eardrums out.
oh, thank you.
XOXO, I love you
Good
guys.
night. Love you
Bye
guys.
bye.
Britney Spears. Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, cult, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, cult, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.